3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to 321 Liftoff. My name is Wayne Belden, and I'm the president of Belden Communications, publisher of the Space Coast Fun Guide and SpaceCoastFunGuide.com. And we'll be bringing you 321 Liftoff every week, talking about tourism in Florida's fabulous Space Coast. With me are your hosts, Pete Lynch, known as Promo Pete, the Director of Business Development for the Space Coast Fun Guide and SpaceCoastFunGuide.com, and Bonnie King, former Deputy Director of the Space Coast Office of Tourism, as well as past President of the Florida Film Commission. Pete, Bonnie, we are thrilled to have you both as co-hosts of 321 Liftoff.
Welcome to another 321 Liftoff, where we have tourism conversations each week with people representing all things fun on Florida's Space Coast. And today, we're going to be taking an adventure here at the Brevard Zoo in Melbourne on Florida's Space Coast. We're going to talk today with Keith Winsten, the Executive Director of the Brevard Zoo, and there is a lot to talk about. From all the animals who are in their natural habitat to all the conservation programs that the zoo is involved in. But first, let me welcome my co-host, Mr. Promo Pete Lynch.
Hello, thank you, Bonnie. It's great to be here today at the zoo. I loved walking in today and seeing all the animals on the way in here. It was awesome. But besides all the fun that we have at the zoo with the animals and getting to see them, I'm very big on the conservation. And today's show is a great way to recognize how the zoo focuses not only on the green initiatives at the zoo, but also how they work alongside our community to make environmentally family changes that protect wildlife and improve the quality of life.
Yeah, and also joining us today is John Belden, Vice President of Belden Communications.
Good morning, everybody. I'll tell you, my family, my kids, we absolutely love the zoo, everywhere from feeding the giraffes to the treetop trek where you can actually zip line. So I know Keith's going to fill us in on many activities that families can do together at the zoo, and I'm going to tell you, Brevard Zoo is a great family attraction. My family truly absolutely love it, so it's a great thing.
And we also welcome back Wayne Belden, President of Belden Communications.
And I, too, am very excited to be here because I get to have a real neat place to bring my grandchildren here. And they absolutely love it, and they hate it when they have to leave. But I think it's important to note that our zoo, and it is our zoo, the residents of the Space Coast call Brevard Zoo our zoo, because the residents actually helped with the building and the construction. And that's a great compliment to our community.
So we're going to be talking about that. So let's start our tourism conversation with the Executive Director of the Brevard Zoo. Welcome, Keith Winston.
Thank you so much for having me, and I love the enthusiasm.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah,
well, we all love the zoo.
This is an enthusiastic place.
Yeah, well, we love to hear that. It's great. Actually, when I wear my shirt out in public, and I was actually at Publix in public, wearing
that's a
my
tongue
shirt,
twister.
and somebody said to me, "You work at the zoo?" And I get to say yes, and that's always a joy.
Yeah.
Because everyone here loves it. The community does own it. Wayne, you referred to it. In fact, this zoo was built by the community. 16,000 plus people built it about 27 years ago. Biggest community build we have on history in the U.S., and the result has been a love affair ever since.
And not only that, but the people that actually helped build the zoo, they get the brick. The family got to put their name on a brick. So as you're walking around the zoo, you can see the different family names and the people that participated.
That's a lot of community pride right there, for sure.
It sure is. And it's fun. We have, every kid in elementary school at the time, as you said, Bonnie, built one. We still have these kids. They're in their 30s now. They have kids of their own, and they're looking for their brick. And I never have the heart to tell them. We still have like thousands, maybe it's hundreds now of bricks in the back. But we use them for new projects because that is who we are. We don't feel like a big city zoo. We feel very distinct and unique, and we're sort of in this authentic Florida landscape. So when you're here, you feel like you're not at a typical zoo. You feel like you're something very different than you'd see back home.
Is that like your goal, to use every brick that you have in the back?
Yeah, I should put that down, right? The day that's done, my work is done. I can go into the sunset to use every brick.
Step by step.
There you go.
What I like about the zoo, too, is that, well, number one, that the animals are in a natural habitat, and that they have a lot of open space to be in and be free to roam, etc. But also, when you're walking, it's like you're in a garden.
Yeah.
So when you're walking around, there's a lot of shade area. There's a lot of that going on. So it's really a very pretty, it's beautiful.
It is. And, what we like to say is we provide a very personal nature experience in an authentic Florida setting. So when you're here with your family, you really do feel like you turn a corner and you discover something. Because essentially all the animals are in natural habitats. We're subtropical, right in the subtropical line here, and all of our species are species that do well in the heat. So you won't see any polar bears or pandas here, but you're going to see everybody else who's going to spend really all their time outside. So when you come and you see our monkeys, they're outside in the sun, in the rain, eating insects, eating bugs, eating lizards, having an incredibly natural life, and that is really our number one goal is animal wellness here. And you feel it from the quality of experience you have as a visitor. You can see the quality of their lives, and it's very different than other places.
So when did you come? When did you come? Because you've been here a long time.
I have been here a long time. So I came in 2004. So we have to do the math.
Wow.
So 16 plus years
Isn't
now.
that wild? It's 16 years already. Wow.
I know. We're only 26 years old, and that used to make us, we used to be like the youngest zoo, but there's a few newer zoos since then. So I've been here for over half the life of this zoo. There's some wonderful directors before me who sort of laid the groundwork. I've raised my family in this community, and if you're a tourist, you should know it's a great place to raise your family.
Absolutely.
And so we've got to see the zoo grow up. And we are not related to any government body. We're completely independent. So it's been philanthropy and people's dollars when they come here and spend them with us. And then the investment of the tourist community. And that's the highest vote I can tell you from tourism, is every time you stay in a hotel here, a little piece of that money comes to us. So we really appreciate it. So if you come and visit Brevard County and you stay in a hotel and visit us, know you've helped us twice, and we really appreciate
Keep coming
that.
here.
Yeah. So we've grown, dramatically over that time, and like many attractions, we know people's time's really critical, and we always offer something new. But the other piece you all referred to, I think that's important, is we are a half-day experience, and very proudly so. The average people spend about 4 hours here. So it's not the time commitment you would have to a theme park. You can come here and then, go back and take a nap, go to the beach, go to a restaurant. We fit in very, very comfortably to people's lives. And what they find is they can see us in a not rushed version.
And the great thing about tourism is that it comes in all different types of styles. You have many people that come here many times throughout the year. And you guys also offer memberships here, which is another fantastic thing.
We do, and we have members all over the country. And of course, one of my favorite things is, locals tend to spend the least amount of time because they've been here before. People from out of town from the U.S. spend about 3 or 4 hours. Europeans spend 7 hours here. They're spent here all day. We do have beer and wine at lunch, and that's part of it.
That's a good thing.
That's part. Actually, we have a full
What
liquor
time is it
license,
now?
so there you go. So we are really very friendly that way. And yes, and our locals love us, but we're about half tourists and about half locals here.
I think one of the great things for the kids too is your pause-on area where the kids you can bring your bathing suit and the kids can play in the water. And during the summer, what a great idea that is.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I kind of like this because I know I brought my niece here, and what she would swim and play in the water, and then you, as an adult, get to sit off on the sideline, and you can be on your phone, you have Wi-Fi, you can do whatever you need to do while the kids are out having a good time.
Yeah, that splash zone
It's great.
We took my kids here. My father actually took our family here several years back, and the kids absolutely loved it. And when it's hot out, like it gets in Florida, that's a great refreshing pit stop, so to speak, to run around.
A very welcome pit stop.
Yes, and then they got delicious food right there. I mean, it's great amenities all around here.
And we try to be thoughtful about those things. So yes, we do have a water play area for kids, and it's tremendously fun. But it's also wrapped around a giant tank that shows fish from the Indian River Lagoon. And one thing, if you've ever watched kids at a lot of splash pads, it's a lot of running, screaming, and falling. And we didn't want that. That's what you find in most places, sort of a plastic product. So we created a new product. We spent a lot of time thinking about it. The pool's actually about 18 inches deep, and there's great water play opportunities, but you can't run through 18 inches.
That'll slow you down, right?
It'll slow you down. So as a parent, the reason you're probably enjoying it isn't the Wi-Fi. It's that your kids are self-contained, totally engaged, but they're not running laps. You're not worried about them falling down and getting hurt. And that's purposeful, and that's because we're sort of independent. We try to look at everything through a new lens, and it'll make it different than what you'd have back home.
You said that very well. Thank you. Let's talk about the giraffes. Love the giraffes.
Yeah, we got to go there because feeding the giraffe is. I mean, the first time I did it, I was, older. I wasn't a kid, and I still got the big kick out of it. I had to go to buy more for me, not for my kids.
And that big purple tongue that thing has. I mean, it was like, wow, look at this. I mean, these animals, they're magnificent, and the size of them are quite intimidating. Even a baby, it's just massive. But seeing them walking around, and it's awesome.
So we have a wonderful giraffe herd here, and one of the highlights of the zoo is our African area, which is actually a giant island. It's attached by bridges to where the giraffes spend their time at night. But it is so large, you literally see herds of giraffes sort of come out of the woods, come to the feeding platform, go back and forth, do their thing. And one of the things we like about it, a lot of places have, again, a very regulated experience. Our giraffes come and go, and when they come, we can sell you some appropriate food, and you can feed a giraffe. And it's something that's fabulous, but it's also not fully predictable. It's not like a ride. It's not always available. If the giraffes don't want to eat that day, they don't eat that day.
Right, and if they don't want to come walking over to the side, they're not going to come see you.
It's a true natural experience.
It really is.
But every time I've been here, though, they've always been there.
They love the people.
They are hungry.
Yeah, they know. They see a human and go, I know I'm going to get food.
And the other fun thing you might have mentioned is you also can kayak around that island.
Yes.
I want to do that so bad. I've been seeing that for years.
And kayaking around and watching a giraffe come down to the water's edge for a drink, or a rhino, or all these other different species here. Again, we are the only zoo that I know that you really can kayak through the zoo, through the heart of the zoo here. So if you've never kayaked before and you're a tourist, it's also your least expensive kayaking opportunity.
That's true.
And you get to visit Africa at the same time, so it's a good thing.
I know we may get into it, but I got to bring it up because every year on my wedding anniversary, I try to do different things and switch it up and keep it interesting. And so 2-3 years ago, we did an experience. We did where you I forget exactly the name of it. When you come here, the wildlife, we got a sloth encounter and all these other types of animals. And I'm going to tell you, it's still my Facebook page. You can see here on my phone. I'm
There you go.
Okay,
Look
with
at that.
the sloth, I was the greatest guy the rest of that year to my wife because that was the best thing. She cried. She cried. You actually get to interact with these sloths, and then the different types of animals that we had throughout that. It was an incredible experience and one that we'll never forget. So you have to when you come here. Obviously, you can walk around the zoo,
And you want everybody to see a sloth. So for people that don't know what a sloth is, can you explain that, Keith? Because they are like...
Bonnie, I think you're behind the times. Everybody knows what a sloth
Really?
is now. They're really...
I'm
They're in
behind the
movies
times.
now.
You're showing your age here.
I am.
They're so cool. They move so slow, but they're
They move. Extremely slow.
They're featured in a TV commercial where you see them moving slow, and that's what the commercial is about. But I can't even remember what the commercial, for what company it was.
You just remember there was a sloth
I
there.
just remember there was a sloth.
And let me say this about us, too. We're an accredited zoo. We're accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And everything else here, starts with animal wellness. So there are a lot of places where you can have a lot of animal encounters. And in many of those cases, the animals were pulled from their parents inappropriately, et cetera. We do have a couple of sloths here, and one of the stars is Lorenzo. And that's because Lorenzo's mom was a first-time mother, and she shared the exhibit with her mother. And what we found is after Lorenzo was born, a day or two later, Lorenzo was on the grandmother, which can't nurse. And we put Lorenzo back on the mom and eventually realized mom wasn't ready and grandma was sort of stealing the show.
Wow.
And that wasn't going to work. So we did pull Lorenzo, and Lorenzo became a hand-reared sloth, which we try to avoid. We want the sloths to have a completely sort of natural life. But now Lorenzo has his own palace here. He's got his own fan club. So if you come recently, there's sort of Lorenzo's world is there because he was so popular, and we sort of documented the process of hand rearing him. And of course, it was pretty cool to go to a meeting and have Lorenzo around somebody's shoulders, so he lived there for a long time. But that's sort of the piece. We do those things very carefully here. The experience you had, they're very thoughtful, always respectful, and the animal's needs comes first. But the public response, I feel responsible for the quality of your marriage now. So
Thank you. Listen, it was one of the best. I mean, probably to date, her favorite year. And I got to say, yes, they were very cautious and safe, and we weren't allowed to actually touch the sloth. They're very careful about that. But I'm able to get some good photo ops, and they had the handlers, and then we saw the anteaters, and we saw. I mean, it really was that made her cry in a positive way. And that was good for the rest of the years, I think.
And I have to tell you a story. We, again, are about those authentic experiences. But with COVID, we had to shift a lot of things. And one of the things we did was we typically have a very popular summer camp. A lot of people send their kids to grandma and grandpa to come here. And we went to a virtual summer camp. And I was always not a fan of that. I always wanted people to have experience, direct experiences, authentic. But we learned there are some things you can do in a virtual setup that you couldn't otherwise. You can get people closer to the animals. So one of the most popular things that happened at our summer camp for younger kids was story time with a sloth. And we literally had a staff member reading a story. You could see the book on camera. And Lorenzo the Sloth was right there with you, actually engaged in the process. So Lorenzo, became a camp favorite and was in 29 states and 3 countries. And we were doing camp all over the world, actually. And one of the fun things we heard later from the parents of these kids, and they told us a few things. They said, first of all, thank you. For 3 hours a day, I could get my work done at home.
Right.
Because the kids were totally engaged. And I was really proud of our staff. They nailed this new format, essentially. And the second thing he's heard is, as soon as this is over and we can travel again, we're coming to Brevard County because my kid needs to see the zoo. He spent so much time already virtually visiting it. But Lorenzo was a big star. That's what convinced me, was that, man, if you can show a sloth right there, inches from your face, reading a story with you, there is some real virtual benefits.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit more about the kayaking thing, because you mentioned that and that piqued my interest. So if somebody has no experience kayaking, like what kind of experience level does somebody need to have to come here and
Well, that's what's great. So we have a couple things here that we offer. Again, we try to give these authentic experiences. There's all sorts of things. We also have a 3-mile walking trail that's not even part of the zoo. It's just next to it. You don't have to pay for it. But we want to get people outdoors. So we have 2 different kinds of kayaking experiences. One is a guided experience. If you've never kayaked before, we're going to put you in a kayak. We're going to teach you how to do it. There's a guide in front and behind you, and we're going to get you through. Sometimes people go in circles for a few minutes. We've had 2 people fall out of kayaks here in many, many years, and one was a board member, so we're not counting that. But honestly, it's very safe. We're going to teach you how to kayak, and you're going to kayak. It's about a 20-minute kayak, enough to get your feet wet, so to speak, but you'll feel very comfortable. We also have a beautiful wetlands here, and if you're a little more experienced kayaker, you can take a kayak out by yourself and go through our wetlands. There you're going to see native animals. It's right underneath our zip line, but there you can be on your own. So both skill levels. If you've done it before, and the water's very shallow in each case, and we put life jackets on you. So if you want to try kayaks, but you've been nervous about committing like a half day to it, come here, and it'll be 20 minutes to half an hour of your day. You'll get to see if you like it.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that our listeners were aware that you don't have to be experienced. You can come here and see this amazing, see the amazing land from a kayak, from the water, but you don't have to be a professional to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also like when you go on your website that you have a lot of videos that show all the different things within this, all the things that you do, the conservation areas, all the things that you guys do for environmental things. It's very educational. Not only is your website educational, but when you're here, you can get as educated as you want about each of the animals as well.
Yeah, and so people like to do experiences with their families that they feel brings value beyond the day. But they also don't want to go to school. I mean, they don't want to take their medicine, right? So you don't come to a place like a zoo to heavy study. But you do want to feel like the environment and the exposure is going to make you better people when you leave. And I think we do that. And we're really unique in that we are totally tied into the conservation work in this community. We live in one of the best places I've ever been, and I've traveled extensively all over the world to see wildlife. Certainly in Florida, I think if you want to see the species that are really attractive here, from dolphins to manatees to sea turtles, there's no better place than the Space Coast. You're going to see them here. And we want to preserve that. So that's a big part of who we do, and we actually give people opportunities to do things like plant mangroves. And I don't know if, as you came in today, we're in our lagoon classroom. This is one of our themed classrooms, and we have a cave classroom here. And right now that's set up because we are using a new technique for restoring oyster reefs called gabions, where you actually put them in these sort of steel cages. In the past, we've used a plastic bag method. Works pretty well, but no one wants to put more plastic out there. So you might have seen a group of volunteers. You might have walked by all these like little metal cages. We'll use those like building blocks to make a reef. They get filled with oyster shells, and then we also put some live oysters in there as well. And then the baby oysters will land on that. And we're going about trying to restore our lagoon, which is a fantastic place to visit, but if we don't take good care of it, it won't be that way. And what we found is we've experimented with a bunch of different methods. The oysters keep surprising us. They keep doing better than we thought we would. So that's one of the things when people come to Brevard County, they also should know that their dollars in tourism goes back into the lagoon. And that's really important. That's very much part of our culture here.
The other is your new babies that get born. And you just had a recent birth here.
Can you even pronounce its name?
It's a Clip Singer.
Clip Springer. I like Clip Singer, though. I'm going to have to run with that.
There we go.
Springer calf, I guess.
So Clip Springer are these little tiny antelopes. They're also found in African savannas, but they live in the rocks. So they live in what's called the kopis, when you have these rock outcroppings in certain parts of primarily East Africa. And what's amazing is they're little antelopes, and their feet come down. They can actually fit all 4 feet like on a dime. That's a quarter. Wow. I'm exaggerating. Because they come to little points. And rock climbing shoes are actually designed based on Clip Springer feet. So they have a hard outer rim and it's soft inside. And they are just friggin' adorable. And they have done very well here. That's a species we work with other accredited zoos. We manage our animals together. We call it like a computer dating service. And And we work with them. And there's very few clip springers in U.S. zoos, but they do very well in this setting. We've had a lot of babies here. This is, I don't remember which calf. It will be named soon.
I was just going to ask.
It's older sister. If you ever remember the Santa Claus is Coming to Town Christmas special, do you remember Clarice was Rudolph's girlfriend? Anyway, the babies look like Clarice. They look adorable. So older sister is called Clarice. I don't know if we know the sex yet for this one. But anyway, they are beautiful and adorable little antelope, and we're really proud to be continuously sort of contributing to the population of them.
So let's talk about the treetop trek.
Yeah, something really unique about us. I guess about 15 years ago, now a little less than that, we really wanted to look at how do we sort of expand those offerings in a way that's unique. And we added a European-style aerial adventure course. So it's got tons of zip lines like you see, but a lot of it are these challenges. So we actually have 3 courses here. We have a kids course, and we have sort of an entry course, and we have the big challenge course. And all 3 of them actually take you through the zoo. So what's fantastic about it's a separate entry attraction, although you can buy a combo ticket for both. But you actually get to be walking through our South American loop, which is amazing, looking sort of eye to eye to monkeys.
Nice.
At the same time, you're up, starting around 20 feet in the air, and then we have these huge zip lines. Eventually, we'll get a lot higher than that. But there are all these physical challenges, like an aerial surfboard or an aerial bicycle. It's not for the faint of heart. We also have a black diamond course for those of you who really want to get a challenge. And I always tell people, if you do the challenge course, and anyone who's in just moderate shape can do it, it's like you ran a marathon you didn't have to train for. You will be sweaty at the end, there's no question. We have a lot of people, we have a lot of women who celebrate their 50th birthday by bringing their friends here.
Really?
And doing Treetop Trek, and then go into, like, when it was open, World of Beer.
Right.
That seems like a bad combination to me. You're a little dehydrated at that.
They're celebrating.
Make sure you do Treetop Trek first.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to let you on.
We could try it the other way.
One thing very special about our course is very safe. It's what's known as a continuous belay. So once you're clipped in, you don't clip out till you're back on the ground.
Wow.
Even if you fell, it just catches you. Not that people fall. They don't take that chance. But it's really unique because you're going through the zoo. You're having this amazing experience, great long zip lines, and looking at animals eye to eye in a way you don't. So if you've always wanted to do that, here's a great place to do it.
That's the cool thing about this zoo is you literally can go through the zoo like multiple ways.
By land, by sea, by air.
That is so cool, man.
And when we opened it up, I had a guy come and say, I've ziplined all over the world. I've ziplined in Hawaii and Costa Rica, but in my backyard is the best experience of all because it's like an obstacle course as well.
Right.
Yeah. And I bet when you're in Publix and you're wearing your Brevard Zoo T-shirt and they come up to you and they say they always have to give you an experience. They're going to tell you something that happened to them at the zoo.
Yes, and it's changed. 15 years ago, it was I built the zoo, right? And then I went there as a kid, and now it's I'm bringing my own kids. So we've seen the whole generational thing change. So,
Keith saying, I'm just trying to get my eggs, guys. Come on. But everybody wants to talk to you. So they love it.
It's all good. And, and that's the community really does love us and has taken care of us during these sort of challenging times with COVID, and we appreciate that. And in return, we've made the place really safe, and we appreciate that. We're an outdoor zoo anyway. We only had one indoor exhibit, and we've kept that closed since reopening. And we do require masks here at the zoo. There are spaces you can take them off, but you got to come in the zoo. You have to have a mask on, and that has really raised the level of comfort for people. We have a lot of volunteers here. We have a lot of seniors here. And we have a lot of animals here. And some animals can get COVID, so we keep people safe. And people said, thank you for providing a safe experience. In fact, someone from our front office came to me yesterday and said, this couple drove 2 hours from another part of Florida that has a really good zoo because they felt safer coming here.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a great
That's a real
I hope they felt that way on their way out too, but going
sure
in,
they
that's how
did.
they felt.
Well, you know who else really loves you guys too is Jack Hanna.
Yeah.
He's been here many times.
Jack's been a big supporter of his. We have an animal that came from him originally years ago, and he has been a great supporter of us. And again, people who know zoos know us because we don't feel and look like other places. If you're looking to see every animal under the sun, we're not your place. We're not this encyclopedic collection of animals. What we are is a series of experiences that are really authentic with animals that are going to be probably very different than what you're going to see in your big city zoo.
And your community involvement is very strong. So a lot of special events are done here. And I know like Boo at the Zoo comes up and the kids just love that. Can you tell us a little bit about the special events that are done?
Yeah, this year is a little different because
Yeah.
for safety purposes, everything's changing.
Right, of course.
We do offer lots of things. If you are a Floridian and thinking to come to Brevard County during September, right now it's Kids-Free September. So 3 kids free with every paying adult. So that's
Great.
I'm a big kid. Does that count?
No.
Or, no.
Do you-
No,
how,
dude.
how about the age limit? So let our listeners know, like, what is the age limit
So
for kids?
basically, kids under 3 are free, and 12 and up are adults.
Okay.
So if you're between the 3 and 11-year-olds and you come with a paying adult during September, it's free.
Okay.
Boo at the Zoo, which happens the last 3 weekends of October, is normally a fabulous evening event. Our event, a little bit like Mickey's Halloween, is aimed at families with young children. It's not a very scary event. There's other great options for that. And typically it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, and it's a very inexpensive option. Prices ranging from $8 to $14. So if you're looking for something, this year, unfortunately, we're not doing that, but what we are doing is we're adding those Halloween elements during the day.
Oh,
So
that'll
if you
be
come in
good.
October,
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of great Halloween
great.
things, great experiences. There's sort of a special trail that talks about monarch butterflies with a lot of hands-on things that are safe. And of course, on the weekends, what's really popular is the trick-or-treating, so we have treat bags for every child that comes in. So that's really great. And then Jazzoo is really an amazing event. Again, it's going to change and be limited. That happens in November every year. And if you're a music enthusiast, we typically have anywhere from 5 to 8 stages all over the zoo. Incredible bands from really all over the country. And you're going to hear music in the woods, in the zoo, open bars everywhere, incredible food. So that's another signature event. Again, this year we're toning it down. It's going to have very limited capacity because we have to keep safe, but keep it in mind for future years. Some of the acts that come here from LA and from New Orleans, they tell us this is their favorite gig all year. And these are national folks. They just love being here.
I can't imagine they're getting a better backdrop to perform
right?
music than
The scenery is
they're
like
not.
no other.
They're not. And we have people like, dancing in the water sort of thing. We talked about Pause On. There's always people wading in at the end. It's only 18 inches, so it's still safe, but
Yeah.
they're getting their shoes wet. They don't care.
But visitors, when they come to the area, are always looking for something different to do. And it's a great opportunity for them that when they're visiting the Space Coast, they can come if that's happening, at the time that they're here.
It's something that you would be so blown away. I've worked at zoos my whole career, and it's the best party I know. It really is. If you've ever been to it, it's like nothing else. Again, this year it's not going to be there in the same form, but you keep discovering a new space with new food and new music, and it's just like this adventure sort of unveils itself. But we do. One of the things we also know here in Brevard County is people send their visiting friends and families to the theme parks, but they take their families to the zoo because it's sort of just so relaxed, works so well.
We keep referring to Brevard County, and I think there's probably a lot of people around the country that listen to us and may not know where Brevard County is, and where it is in Melbourne, Florida.
Yeah.
And we're just about 30 minutes east of Orlando, straight shot.
Yeah, it's really easy. The zoo is right off of I-95, which is the big highway. Coming here, you get off at the Wickham Road exit, and you're right down the road from there.
Yeah, we are so easy to get to. 45 minutes from the Orlando airport, less than half an hour from the beaches. It's very, very easy. We have free parking, which we've just improved.
I was just going to
Kudos
say, when I
parking
came
lot
in,
looks amazing.
your parking lot is amazing.
Yeah, and much needed because every time you come to the zoo, it's
Yeah.
packed. Everybody loves coming here.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're expanding on that just shows, again, your commitment to the people that come here. You're making it more convenient and easied to get in. So it's great.
We have some other exciting things coming. Prior to COVID, we had made a commitment to buy a new train. And the reason was we had a diesel train. This is electric. It's environmentally much friendlier. It's got bigger cars, so if you're over 5 feet, your knees aren't going to be in your face. And we had ordered the new train, and the train is coming. There'll be new animals. So for those of you who are train enthusiasts, it's still an historic model, but it's electric, and we feel really good about that, and that's coming.
Everybody loves a train.
Yeah, that's
everybody loves a
exciting,
choo-choo.
Yeah.
Come on.
So one of the other things you can do here.
So let's talk about your expansion. What's happening in the future? Because I know there's some exciting things in the books.
Sure. So a couple things. We just opened our biggest improvement to date. It's called Rainforest Revealed. It's a South American loop. We added venomous snakes and giant otters, which literally are giant otters, and a whole bunch of other species. What's really amazing is it's a rainforest over your head. So all of the animal things have tunnels connecting them to different parts. So like our jaguars have 3 different spaces they can be in. and our spider monkeys have 4 different spaces. So literally, as you migrate through, they migrate through as well.
Above you?
Above you.
Wow.
Above you. And again, going back to who we are, spider monkeys in the wild, they live in what's called a fission fusion society like we do. Small family groups that get together on certain occasions, like meeting at the water hole if you were elephants who do that. Or in our case, Thanksgiving. No one's ever kept spider monkeys in a setup that allows that. So we're doing that for the first time with these 4 different spaces, letting our spider monkey troop grow. And we're excited about, you get to see that. It doesn't feel like anything else. And we actually have a partnership with the Florida Institute of Technology. They have 2 cognition researchers there who study how people and animals think, and they actually work with our spider monkeys. The spider monkeys can choose to come down to a special area and play with computers, and
Really?
we are watching how they learn.
Wow.
So that'll be going live soon, and you'll get to see that and find out if they're actually smarter than one of your kids. So it's one of those things that's pretty unique.
But when you talk about 3 or 4 hours that people spend here at the zoo, I'm an hour at least at the spider monkey exhibit. That's my favorite. Just watching them fly around and move around. So here comes the hard-hitting question of the show.
Yeah.
You're here every day and you get to see all the animals that are here. Do you have a favorite I know all the animals are going to be listening to the 321 Liftoff podcast, so there's a lot of pressure here. But
Sloth,
do you have
sure.
a favorite?
Right now, probably not. Maybe I get to know animals that have unique personalities.
Yeah.
Maybe Lily, the kangaroo, because
Okay.
she just loves hanging out with people. When you're walking through our kangaroo yard, she tends to lie down right in the middle of the path.
Right.
Really?
So she's pretty unique. My favorite animal of all time was a black-throated monitor. It was a lizard about 5 feet tall, about 5 feet long, not tall, named Ollie. And Ollie was so mellow. He lived in our petting zone with goats and with alpaca. And small children would just come lie down on this giant lizard. He was cool with it.
Wow.
And he was just an amazing animal. I've never met another lizard like Ollie, but we have pictures of small children just embracing him.
Wow.
It was like embracing
I
a
love
living
that.
dinosaur.
I've never met a lizard like that.
I mean, Ollie was just so special. I was so sad. He developed a spinal issue that, and so we were really sad to lose him. But he was really unique. So, yeah, I mean, I love a lot of things. I love lemurs. I love a lot of the species we have here. And I'm a bird and reptile guy by background. So
Yeah, okay.
that's why I had to love Ollie.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
How about
I
you,
wanted,
Bonnie?
I wanted the otters. I really liked the otters. I live on the Ulame Wildlife Refuge, and there are some otters that are across my way, but I don't get to see them. They're so fast. The minute they know that I see them, they disappear. So here, it was like I got to actually be up close and personal. So
Yeah.
I really like that.
And we have both North American river otters, which you can see in Brevard County. If you come to visit in Brevard County, you go to a wild area, you don't have a high probability. I probably see them 4 times a year, but I see them regularly, along with things like bobcats, which there's no place else I've been where I regularly see them.
Yeah.
But we also have giant otters, river otters from South America, which are the longest otter in the world. They get about 6 feet long, so they are pretty amazing.
Wow.
It's fun to watch.
What about gators?
We've got gators here, and we have crocodiles here right next to it, because
that's
South
cool.
Florida has crocodiles. They're bigger, they're green versus gators, which generally look black. And we have gators and we have crocodiles. We're not one of the gator specialists, so we don't have 20 or 30 gators lying on top of each other. We have a pair of gators. And sort of like Florida, sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. We don't have them stacked up like firewood, but that's really our level of care here.
Oh, that's awesome. And speaking of the care, the one thing I wanted to mention at the beginning is the conservation programs that you have. Because as fun as the zoo is and as exciting it is to watch all the animals and the animal encounters like John was mentioning, what you do with the conservation to help these animals, to me, is absolutely amazing. So can we talk a little bit about that? And let
We
our
talked a
listeners
little
know?
about the Indian River Lagoon.
Yeah.
We are also probably the most important nesting beach for sea turtles in the Western
Yeah, I wanted to
Hemisphere.
mention the Sea Turtle Healing Center.
And very much a sea turtle culture here. If you come here during the summer, during nesting season, you'll see we have special lighting to make sure we don't distract the babies or the turtles. You're never supposed to leave beach chairs or things at night because you get in the way of turtles who are moving back and forth. We're very conscious of that, and people love sea turtles, as they should. They're fascinating. But for the longest time, any sick sea turtle had to go like an hour away. And so in 2014, we opened up the Sea Turtle Healing Center, which is really one of the largest facilities. We're just finishing an improvement of it here right now. We don't actually have sea turtles on display, but you can tell when you're supporting us, we're constantly taking them in and bringing them out. We have an amazing turtle right now. She's a giant loggerhead that came in sort of egg-bound, and we've been working with her. She's the biggest turtle we've had. Her head is easily the size of a basketball. It's pretty amazing.
And that's happening right here on site.
That's happening right here on site. It's back at our Harris Corporation care center, which is in the back. We have a full animal hospital here.
That's
We have
great.
a big vet team here. But it's not something you get to see live because those are animals that are in special care. But often when we're doing a release, we'll announce it. People will come down to the beach and sort of celebrate. We say when a turtle goes home. We provide long-term care. Some of our turtles have been here for like 9 months recovering.
And a lot of people show up for that.
It's pretty special.
It's beautiful what it is.
So let's talk about the expansion that you're looking at doing an aquarium.
Yeah, well, our hope is if you're a tourist and you come back in, let's say, 4 years, you'll get to visit a wonderful aquarium. There really isn't a major aquarium on the I-95 corridor in Florida. There's aquariums in Orlando and on the West Coast, but none on the East Coast. And Port Canaveral is really one of the centers of cruising in the world, second busiest cruise port in the world. Fantastic cruise community going through there, right on the road going to the beaches. And there's an amazing piece of property, which is like this 20-acre island right on the Indian River Lagoon that we're hoping to build an aquarium. The COVID has put a little kink in our plans for now, but something that'll really add to your visit, another half-day experience. Again, very interactive, very much an authentic experience. It will be a very pandemic-friendly experience, a series of outdoor pavilions with some air conditioning, of course, but not a big, giant building where thousands of people will be in together. And right on the lagoon, so you'll really get a feel. So the dolphins and the manatees you see there will be the wild ones right off our coast. They won't be under our care.
Wonderful. Can't wait for that to open. Also,
Oh,
now
that's exciting. And the plans of that too were kind of the same thing, where it'll be in their natural habitat too. So it's not like a typical aquarium when you walk in and it's, you're looking at a...
Yeah, exactly. One of the premier experiences will be a shark flat experience, and
Right.
you're really looking beyond the shark flats out into the water where the bull sharks really are.
Yeah.
So it's really, we're trying to put it in the habitat as opposed to build some giant concrete thing that fights the habitat.
Yeah, the plans look absolutely amazing for that, and we're all excited to see that happen in our area.
Good. Well, we hope it does. We're going to work hard to make it so.
So let's talk about when you're not working at the zoo and you and your family are, what do you guys like to do on the Space Coast?
Wow, that's interesting. Well, I'm a birder, right? So I go all over the world chasing as many bird species as I can see. So often I'm dragging my family up, but what I've found now is that my family has gotten the disease. They don't need to bird with me, but they need to get outdoors. So some of the places we love to go, right by the zoo is Vieira Wetlands, which is just an open place. Depending on the day, you can drive around it or you walk around. It's a fantastic place to see wildlife. We go to our beaches a lot. We love to grab something right by the beach. That's one of our favorite things. We go up to Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge.
Oh, yeah.
Or Turkey Creek down in Palm Bay is a beautiful boardwalked area. We love all the restaurants that are right on the water here, and we go there a lot. And Cocoa Village is just a charming place. Lots of little boutique stores, great restaurants. Cocoa Village has a bandstand and put on great music festivals. So we've been to 2 reggae festivals there in the last couple of years, and just fantastic music. We saw the Doobie Brothers there.
Brevard County and the Space Coast are really becoming known for the entertainment as well.
Yeah.
It's becoming a hot spot, in Florida.
Speaking of Cocoa Village, because it is a beautiful spot, if you want coupons to Cocoa Village, go to spacecoastfunguide.com. We got some fantastic coupons for the restaurants and attractions out there. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then every once in a while, because we're old, I'm in my late 50s, but if we want to hang out with young people, we'll go to downtown Melbourne, and then we'll feel really old because it's a great bar clubbing scene down there. But great food as well. And so, those are the things we do. We do run over to Orlando sometimes, and we enjoy seeing that as well. But there's so much to do here.
Well,
I love it. I mean, you covered pretty much the whole
He
county.
sure did, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to do one more shameless plug because I love this place. So we love to go to theater in Titusville. The Parish
yes.
Theater in
And the
Titusville.
Parish Theater.
Absolutely.
It is a local theater, but man, they do edgy stuff. They do great stuff. So I have 2 daughters who are Broadway fanatics, and that's where we go locally. There's a lot of great theater here, but we just love what they do up there. So that's, we usually have a subscription to that as well.
Well, I think you hit the 4 areas of the county. There.
I
You
know you
covered
did.
everything.
You
Very
did
well
everything.
done. Yeah,
I can tell
bravo.
he's used to being interviewed. He's used to having these kind of
we
conversations.
depend on tourism here too. It's really important to us.
No,
so.
it's important, and if people are going to come to the zoo, then it's good to know. Again, you said it only takes 3 or 4 hours to do, so there are other things in the area that people can go do the same day,
Yeah.
in addition to the beach and everything.
And your website is brevardzoo.org.
Correct, and that'll take you to. We have all sort of subservient sites that work with it. Treetop Trek has its own, and our conservation site, Restore Our Shores. But once you get to brevardzoo.org, it'll take you everywhere you need to go.
That's good. Well, we really appreciate you coming and taking the time
Hey.
to tell us about the zoo because, as you know, we love it.
Well,
and we just wish you the best.
Thank you, and I appreciate everything you do. This is, as a wildlife watcher, if I want to take my family somewhere to see wildlife at the zoo, but also in the wild, this is the place to go. And there are a lot of resources to see all those animals that maybe you never thought you'd see in your life, like a manatee, but you will see them here.
And I think we can all at this table vouch for that.
Absolutely.
We love it, and it's great. I do want to say real quick that we're going to be having a new sponsor joining our show. So Beachside Hotel and Suites, they're coming on in a few weeks.
Great.
So they're located in Cocoa Beach. So if you're going to come to the area and you want to stay in a hotel, you can stay over at Beachside Hotel and Suites.
And they have the lazy river.
That's right.
And that's just calling my name. They have done one heck of a job remodeling that property. It's a true resort and a great way to experience the Space Coast. You can go stay there at the hotel, enjoy the lazy river, and then come to the Brevard Zoo. It's a great place to come see it all.
We'll have to go there and do a podcast.
Yeah,
So
we'll
that'd
have
be
to
great.
check it out.
In
But
the
yeah,
pool, right? In the pool?
Right,
yeah,
in
there
the
you go.
pool.
Hey, they got
Yeah.
a good bar there too, after the zoo and after the zoo. But thank you, Keith, for joining us.
My
We really
pleasure.
appreciate you spreading the word of everything that you do, and we appreciate everything that you do in this area because it's, the zoo is a huge part of Brevard County and the Space Coast, and proud to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate, you guys let people know what a great place this is to visit. And here's a place, too, where your dollars usually go to help the environment. And that's a pretty special thing. So.
Absolutely.
Yes, it
well,
is.
Bonnie, who do we have on the show next week?
So next week we're going to meet another Chamber of Commerce representative from Palm Bay, Nancy Peltonen, and she's going to come in and talk about all the activities that is done in the Palm Bay area. And Palm Bay is just one of the 16 cities that we have here in Brevard County, and they're on the southernmost part of the Space Coast, and only about 20 minutes from here at the zoo. So we'll be talking to Nancy
Great
about
bass
that.
fishing.
Great,
there you
yep,
go.
bass
All right.
capital of the world. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Well, we're looking forward to that. And again, Keith, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
We appreciate everybody, and we will see you next
See you
week.
next week.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening to the 321 Liftoff podcast. I'm Promo Pete, and thank you again, Bonnie King. We had a great episode. Be sure to check us out every week. And if you want more information, visit spacecoastfunguide.com or beldingcommunications.com for everything that we're doing in the area. You can also check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/spacecoastfunguide for all the entertaining things to do in our area. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, take care.